Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle and this is a reading roundup. In my reading roundup videos, I just talk about the books that I have been reading recently, and this is the first one that I've done since March Mystery Madness. So let's just dive straight into it. First is a book that was recommended to me by Donna from Studio in the Library, and this is Death in Castle Dark by Veronica Bond. It is the first in the Dinner and a Murder mystery series, which I found so intriguing. The main character in this is Nora Blake, and she is an actor. This is set in Illinois, and Nora Blake is an actor looking for work, and she hears about this job opportunity at Castle Dark, which is out in the middle of nowhere. It's an actual castle, and the director hires actors, and he runs a dinner and a murder mystery, and so people pay tickets to come to the castle, and they get dinner, and the actors that are there play out a mystery story. And what's brilliant, I thought, about the way that they run it is usually in these type of games, the people playing are suspects in the mystery, but in this case he has them all as investigators, as inspectors. So they are watching it play out, figuring out who the suspects are, finding the clues so that they can solve it at the end, which is really fun. So she ends up moving to Castle Dark. The actors all live in the castle. And of course, during one of their dinner and a murder nights, one of the cast is killed. And this was just a super, super fun, cozy mystery. I really liked it. I liked the tone. It was a great tone. It was lighthearted, but not too lighthearted. I liked the main character of Nora. She's the kind of amateur sleuth that I like in cozy mysteries. She didn't break the law. She was involved in the case because it happened in her home and to her co-worker. And if she ever came across information or evidence that the police needed, she told them about it immediately. And so I really liked that. I really did enjoy this, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next one in the series. I also needed to mention one hilarious part of this. She's in bed at night and she's reading Victoria Holt, and she's scoffing because the heroine gets scared and runs out of the castle in her fear. And of course she was like, don't do that, that's really stupid. But then within hours something happens that terrifies Nora, and Nora goes running in a blind panic outside of the castle into the woods in the dead of night. And so I thought that was just hilarious that she spent some time scoffing at the heroine for doing something that she did herself. So that was pretty funny. I read The Lost Shrine by Nicola Ford. This is the second in her series about archaeologist Claire Hills. And in this one, she gets sent to a dig in the Cotswolds, and there's a housing developer who wants to build on the site, and before they're allowed to do that, they have to do an archaeological dig to ensure that there isn't anything that they are going to wreck, or to record what's there before they build. And it's a dig that had been started by a different archaeologist who had died. Everyone assumed that she committed suicide, and then the dig was shut down, and then Claire gets hired to start it up again. One thing that I liked was that there was far more archaeology in this one than in the first one, like actual digging in the ground archaeology, which I really enjoy. What's interesting about these though is I love the archaeology part, but I'm just not convinced I like the characters, and I'm not I don't love the language. There's some language in here that just doesn't really, I just don't, it doesn't need to be in there. I don't think so. So anyway, I liked the archaeology part, and the mystery was okay. I'm trying to remember now. I think I figured it out. But anyway, so this is The Lost Shrine by Nicola Ford. Then I went back to a cozy and I read a murder she wrote. This is the Highland Fling murders by Donald Bain. And in this one, Jessica and a group of friends from Cabot Cove head to Scotland, and they end up staying at the castle of her friend Inspector George Sutherland in the village of Wick. There is a murder, obviously, that not Angela Lansbury, oh that's very funny, Jessica Fletcher investigates. It was fun having her group of friends outside of their environment, but this one was just okay for me, and I'm not entirely sure why. I have enjoyed other ones that I've read, but this one was, like, I thought this one was going to be fantastic because it was set in the Highlands in Scotland, but it was just okay. And then I read the second in the Lee Goldberg series. I read the first one during March Mystery Madness, and this is Bone Canyon, the second one. The main character is Eve, and she works for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. She's a detective, and the wildfires have been raging, and bodies have turned up in the woods, and so she gets sent to investigate one particular body. And again, this is interesting. I liked this one, but I liked the first one much better. I was actually at times really quite annoyed with the main character in this one. I think I would still continue on with the series. I'm curious to see where it's gonna go. But this one in particular, I was just kind of pretty much annoyed by the main character. And then I read the latest for me. This is Slough House by Mick Herron. This is part of his Slough House series. There's a new one coming out, I think, in May. So I'm caught up for now. And so I don't want to say too much because this is a series that you definitely have to read in order. It is set in London, and it focuses on the agents who are sent to Slough House, which is where agents get sent when they've screwed up, and MI5 don't want them working on active cases, essentially. This one was really good. I enjoy the series as a whole, but I did really enjoy this one as well. Someone is killing off the slow horses. And so, of course, Jackson Lamb, gets his crew investigating. I love the characters. I love this world that Mick Herron has created. It's a darkly funny series. Yeah, and I just really enjoy it. And then I read Dead Man's Island by Carolyn Hart. This is the first in her Henry O series, and I read some books from this series years and years and years ago, and then completely forgot about them. But again, Donna from the studio in the library reminded me of this one, because this one is an isolated closed circle mystery, and I did enjoy that aspect of it. So someone has been threatening Chase Prescott, and so he invites the people who he thinks could be the suspects and who tried to kill him out to his private island off the coast of South Carolina, and then he also brings Henry O, who is someone that he knew like 40 years ago. So she is now a retired journalist, and he has a media empire. And so he asks her to come and try and figure out who it is that's trying to kill him. So he's got family members there, as well as some people that work for him in his media empire. And then, of course, because it's a private island, they get cut off. The only way on or off the island is by boat, and his boat gets blown up. The phone lines are down, and there's a hurricane bearing down on them. So it's definitely an isolated closed circle mystery in that way. This was written in 1993. The thing that I found the most interesting is that you would think that this is a cozy mystery, and I know that Carolyn Hart has written another series that I really like that is definitely a cozy mystery series. It's about the Annie who runs a mystery bookstore, also on an island off South Carolina, so I think that's interesting. That's definitely cozy. This one I would say isn't so much cozy. There is some language in here that I was not expecting because I thought that it was a cozy. I also think like maybe it's because of her main character Henry O, who is a pretty clever lady, but like the use of language in this book as a whole is at kind of a different level. Like she uses words like anthropomorphic, saccharine, obdurate, fecundity, inimical, or a phrase like a summer somnolent armadillo. Yeah, I was surprised by the bad language in this because I just wasn't expecting it. There wasn't a ton, but there was more than I expected. But on the whole, this was a very entertaining, isolated, closed circle mystery. And then I read the second in the Queen Elizabeth II Investigates. This is All the Queen's Men by S J Bennett, and I really liked this. I think I actually liked this better than the first one in the series. In this book, we are still in 2016, and this one takes place at Buckingham Palace. I just love having the Queen as the investigator. She makes good use of her personal secretary, who is, I have forgotten what her name is already. That's okay. And then, so there's basically some poison pen letters going around the palace, the staff in the palace, and then someone dies. And so she's getting her secretary to help her investigate. There's also a story about the artwork in the castle. And so I just found it so fascinating, and I love the way that she writes Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. I just think that it's fantastic. It's also what I love is how underestimated she is, especially by the men on her senior staff are constantly underestimating her. And I love how she basically finagles other people to get to the conclusion that she did, and so assume that they solved the case because of course she can't, do it herself. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I hope there's more in the series. And then I read Get Me to the Grave on Time by D.E. Ireland. This is the third in the Eliza Doolittle and Henry Higgins series. And I just love this series. It's so entertaining. We're still in 1913 in London, and it's the summer of weddings. We have her cousin Jack, Inspector Jack Shaw, is about to get married. Freddie's younger sister Clara is about to get married, and Higgins' niece is also getting married, and then there's a fourth wedding as well. So 4 weddings in 4 weeks. But someone is trying to kill the grooms. And so, of course, because of the connection to family and friends, Eliza and Henry Higgins do some amateur sleuthing. And it's just very entertaining. I really enjoy this series. I love the characters, and the time period, and yeah, there's only one more in the series, and it's so sad that there's only 4 in this series, but that's okay. I will reread them. So there you have it. That's what I have been reading recently. Have you read any of these books? I would love to chat with you about them in the comment section down below, and I will see you for another video soon.